bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Prabhu, can we share the screen for the verse, please? Yeah, thank you. Brahmo vacha samyak karuni. Prabhu, can we share the screen for the verse, please? Vatsate vichikitsitam. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Mataji.
Brahmo vacha. I'll just repeat it one more. Samyak karuni. Prabhu, can we share the screen for the verse, please? Vatsate vichikitsitam. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Mataji.
Brahmo vacha. I'll just repeat it one more. Samyak karuni. Prabhu, can we share the screen for the verse, please? Vatsate vichikitsitam. Okay. Brahmo vacha samyak karunika yedam vatsate vichiksitam yad aham chodita somya bhagavad virya darshane. Synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahma vacha, Lord Brahma said, samyak, perfectly, karunikasya, of you, who are very kind. Idam, this, vatsa, my dear boy, te, your, vichiksitam, inquisitiveness, yat, by which, aham, myself, chodita, inspired, Soumya, O gentle one, Bhagavat, of the personality of Godhead, Virya, prowess, Darshane, in the matter of. Translation. Lord Brahma said, my dear boy Narada, being merciful to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty Personality of Godhead. Purport. Brahmaji, being so questioned by Naradji, congratulated him, for it is usual for the devotees to become very enthusiastic whenever they are questioned concerning the Almighty Personality of Godhead. That is the sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. Such discourses on the transcendental activities of the Lord purify the atmosphere in which such discussions are held, and the devotees thus become enlivened while answering such questions. It is purifying both for the questioners and for one who answers the question. I'll repeat that. It is purifying both for the questioners and for one who answers the questions. The pure devotees are not only satisfied by knowing everything about the Lord, but are also eager to broadcast the information to others, for they want to see that the glories of the Lord are known to everyone. Thus, the devotee feels satisfied when such an opportunity is offered to him. This is the basic principle of missionary activities. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadesha Tarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So today's session will work a bit differently. I'll just speak a little bit on this verse for about 5-7 minutes, and then we have Jagannatha Suta Prabhu with us, who will be responding to different questions that we may have concerning our spiritual life. So let us start. So we are reading from chapter Canto 2, which is Cosmic Manifestation, and the chapter 5 is Cause of All Causes. So one may think that we are reading about cosmic manifestation, but whatever we are reading at the moment, last verse and this verse, is not just about what is created, but it is about how the knowledge about the creation is revealed through perfect questions and perfect answers. So they are not so much about cosmology, but they are actually loving exchanges between a pure devotee who's asking a question and a pure devotee who's answering those questions. So we can see Srila Prabhupada is constantly reminding us that the goal is not cosmology, but the goal is of Srīmad Bhāgavatam is glorification of the Lord. Right? So therefore, before describing the universes, how the universe was created, how different elements were created, different creational stages, Bhagavatam is describing to us the correct attitude, devotional attitude. Right? So because at the end, we may know how the universe works, but we may forget who is behind it. So the goal is to remember who is behind it. And that's why we are going through the proper process and understanding the devotional attitude. So this verse is very important, and it reveals the mood of devotional discussion. And that is the very life of Krishna consciousness. Lord Brahma is saying in the purport over here, actually he says in the translation itself, my dear boy Narad, being merciful to all, including me. This I found very striking because Brahma is the first created being. He is the one who's the engineer of the universe. And he's telling Narada, you are being merciful even to me. Why? Because the questions of the Supreme Lord are acts of mercy. Normally, questions in our day-to-day life can challenge, can confuse, sometimes inflate our ego. They might give us temporary answers to life. They might increase information, or they might help to solve day-to-day problems like what should I have for dinner today. But they do not transform consciousness unless it is connected with Krishna. What will I prepare for Krishna today? That will bring about transformation. So questions about Krishna do the opposite to our normal day-to-day question. It not just humbles the speaker, but it also purifies the person who is asking those questions, and it helps us to remember the Lord throughout the day. That is why we can see over here that Brahma is congratulating Narad Muni. He is not disturbed, but he is very enthusiastic. When Srila Prabhupada arrived in New York in 1965, very few people were interested in spiritual life. And one of them was Bruce Scoff, who later became Brahmanand Prabhu. Now, who also became ISKCON's first temple president. Now, Brahmanand Prabhu, he was a very intelligent, youthful person, but he was also obviously, it is very natural to have these questions. He always had lots of questions. He did not immediately accept Srila Prabhupada as the spiritual authority. He began by his spiritual life by asking many, many questions. What is God? Forget who is God. His question started from what is God? Why should I chant? How do we know that soul exists? Why should I accept Krishna? Right? So rather than being disturbed, what did Srila Prabhupada do? Srila Prabhupada became very enthusiastic that someone is asking such meaningful questions. He would patiently answer each questions, and it is said that he would patiently answer each question in great depths. And through those kind of conversation, we have the book, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. So Srila Prabhupada will go back to quote Bhagavad Gita, go back to Bhagavad Gita again and again. He would always give very logical answers. But above all, he was always very compassionate when he was answering those questions. And the turning point in Brahmanand Prabhu's life was when Prabhu realized that this Swami is not trying to defeat me by answering those questions. All he's trying to do is give me knowledge. And the moment Brahmanand Prabhu realized uh, about this sincerity and the joyful attitude of Srila Prabhupada, that completely changed Brahmanand Prabhu's heart. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, it is usual for devotees to become very enthusiastic when they are questioned concerning the Almighty Personality of Godhead. So it leads, so whenever someone is responding, they become very enthusiastic. So this leads us to meet a very enthusiastic person, a devotee from the Sankirtan movement, His Grace, Jagannatha Suta Prabhu, who will be responding to our questions today, who is very enthusiastic, who has been a devotee for decades, travels the world with Harinam Ruchi, chanting every single day, preaching every single moment. So if you have any questions, it'll be nice to hear from him. And one question can actually, the answer to that question can change your life completely. So don't think that a question is not good enough, is silly. Every question is a great question. With the right attitude, we may get the perfect answer that will change our life. So just before we start on with the question, it will be great if we can have the cameras on, especially when we are asking the question. It just makes it a bit personal. If you're cooking, running around, doing your yoga, whatever it is Jagannath Sutta Prabhu said yesterday, it is okay. It helps him to connect to you at a personal level. So let's try to keep our cameras on and let's hear from Jagannath Sutta Prabhu. Okay, so who is the brave person to ask the first question? You can put your hand up. That will also help us decide who goes first.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have a question.
Yes, please, Mataji. Can I request you to turn on your camera if that's okay? Thank you.
It is said that if we have material desires, we cannot go back to Godhead. We will have to be Anya Vilashita Shunyam, that is free from all material desires. At the same time, we should not forcibly eliminate all desires ourselves. So, how do we get rid of our material desires?
Okay, good. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for having me. Yeah, just yesterday we were talking with Sneha Bhakti about this turning on the camera. And then she said, yeah, sometimes I keep my camera off when I'm cooking. And then my reply was, I want to see you cook, right? So this is personal. Krishna consciousness is personal because we're trying to develop a personal relationship with the Lord, with the absolute truth. So if we're gonna think that Krishna is apart from our life, apart from our relationships, is something different, and that I'm keeping my own life with my friends and family and colleagues and my community, and then Krishna is added to the equation, then we always maintain these material identifications that designate us. And won't be able, like you said, we won't be able to be with Krishna, actually. Especially when we leave this body, nothing will change much. We'll just continue in the same manner. So by us understanding that Krishna consciousness is not a secondary activity that we have, it's not something that we add to our life, but it's actually the very core of our existence, the very core of all of our activities, then we'll be able to spiritualize our whole existence that we have. Like our body, our work, our family, our day-to-day activities, and ultimately our desires, right? Because desires dictate what we do. And I was just thinking about this today, actually, in the morning when I was chanting. The thought came to my mind how all the activities that we do are based on our identification. So if we think we're this body, if in any capacity, right? Either I think I'm Gujarati, or I'm Australian, or I'm European, or I'm young, I'm old, I'm a mom, I'm a son, I'm a young professional, I'm a seasoned CEO. All these identifications are not pertaining to us per se, us who we really are, but it's just external designations to our vessel that we're occupying currently. So then all the activities that are coming out of this identification, false identification that we have, are gonna miss the mark, right? Because this is not us. So if we want to be with Krishna, if we want to be happy, we have to know first who we are and act based on that identification. If we just from the get-go think we're something we're not, then whatever we're gonna do, it's not gonna cut it. It's gonna be throwing money out of the door, right? Not investing it in some good asset like that. So what we have to do is we have to understand who we are first. And then when we focus on that, then automatically, naturally, all our activities are gonna be dovetailed. All our desires are gonna be dovetailed towards self-realization, towards our realizing our relationship with Krishna. So that's very important. It's not that this is some kid stuff that they are learned, being taught in e-Gurukul, right? And we are already initiated and we know these things and we have to discuss other things. No, this is crucial information that we really need to imbibe and we need to live by that. And yeah, Prabhupada describes it. One's activities give out the level of one's realization, right? So we think we're this car and we just focus on maintaining the car, putting the gasoline in, changing the oil, taking care that the tires are well maintained. That's all right, but this is not us. We're the driver. So we have to focus on what the driver's needs are. So this is how we spiritualize our material activities. So whatever you have, right? Whatever social position you have, whatever capacity you have, whatever assets you have, if you connect them with the mission of Lord Chaitanya, then your desires are going to be spiritualized. So if you want a big house, for instance, that's all right. It's not that you need to have a small house. Have a big house and then use it for Krishna. Invite devotees over, host the preachers, host the programs, have people there, and make it a spiritual hub. And then this is a spiritual house all of a sudden. So then your desire to have a big house is spiritualized and it's connected with Krishna, and it's not going to inhibit you in your spiritual progress. Rather, it's going to help you to progress faster because you're going to facilitate the mission, the movement. And this goes for all the desires we have. They all can be spiritualized, right? We want to dress nicely. We want to have nice ornaments. That's perfect because Krishna consciousness has so many festivals, and then we can dress nicely for the festival. And in this way, the whole mood of the festival is going to be uplifted. because we dress nicely for the Lord and we glorify the Lord with our dancing and with our being there, hearing the class. And then people get together and we talk and we associate. And this is Krishna consciousness. So whatever you have, just connect it with Krishna, and then you're safe. And on the other hand, even if you renounce everything, right, and you just live in 2-room house with 1 bathroom and you downsized 3 times over and you gave all your money to your grandchildren and your children and you're really kind of like wrapping up your material existence, but it's not connected with Krishna, it's not connected with Srila Prabhupada, with preaching, with Lord Chaitanya, then nothing's gonna change much. So connecting with Krishna, that's the main thing.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a beautiful answer. The main point was connect with the mission of Lord Chaitanya, and then the desire is spiritualized. I love that. Any other questions? Anyone else? There is a question that has come to me through messages. I will read that question to you, Prabhu.
Okay.
And then you can respond to that. Probably it's a question that many people on the group might have as well. So this is Chetan from India. He is asking this question. He regularly hears our Bhagavatam classes, and he even was a part of the yatra that had gone to India recently. So his question is, in Bhagavad Gita 4.34, we are instructed to approach a spiritual master. But like, how exactly does one find a spiritual master? We know as such one can get initiation from different gurus if they meet the requirements, but how exactly does one know who is it they want to get initiated by? How do we start that search? What's the process? And when do we know it's the right time to find a spiritual master? Or is there anything like a right time? Thank you.
Yeah, this is a very good question. And it should be talked about more, because I see when we travel, it's been too externalized in recent times. So devotees don't really know how to approach the matter, and they just know the framework of it and the legal bureaucratic requirements of it, and they're trying to fulfill those, but the essence of it is kind of being put on the side. So yeah, I can just share my example and we can learn from that. I'm going to point out a few things. So when I first joined Krishna consciousness was through books. So I was reading the books, and whatever I learned about it was from Srila Prabhupada, from reading whatever he wrote in the book. And these were my initial years. So I didn't have any devotee association. And I just tried to emulate whatever he said and try to put it in practice. And then gradually, when my devotional service grew to the point of sadhu sangha, then I was able to get some association and take it from there. So this initial bout of my Krishna consciousness helped me a lot in understanding that it's not about being with people, being with devotees, and relying on that for Krishna consciousness to work initially, right? Because anyway, we need the devotee association. But what happened was I understood that through Vani instead of Vapu, so through hearing and not physically grossly associating with people in a gross body, I could learn and I could put it in practice and I could progress. So just through hearing. And this helped me on my path even after I was already in the temple, because I understood, okay, the main thing is hearing And then hearing means you try to put it in practice, whatever you hear, right? It's not just hearing and then you become self-realized without any deliberation on what you heard and trying to emulate it. So for instance, if we would just put a recorder next to the Prabhupada class box, right? It's got all these 6,000 classes or how much. And then this recorder would become the greatest spiritual master because he heard all the classes, right? But it's not like that. We have to do something with what we hear. So by hearing, I understood, okay, if I just hear Srila Prabhupada and try to practice whatever he's saying in the association of devotees, right? Because this is one of the purposes of ISKCON, to facilitate devotees to come together and have these 6 loving exchanges and to facilitate people to come and hear about Krishna. So by me hearing from Srila Prabhupada and trying to put it in practice in the association of devotees, so that means trying to serve in the temple, trying to serve in the preaching mission, trying to serve devotees personally. And because this is what I heard from Srila Prabhupada, this helped me progress on the path. And then this very thing showed that if I just focus on doing what Prabhupada said, I'm gonna become more progressed on the path. So that means in your example, if I'm a new devotee and I'm just started to associate with devotees and there's so many gurus and I don't know if I'm gonna make the right call, and if I mess it up and my guru falls down or he doesn't really click with me in my mood, then I'm gonna be suffering my whole life. And so many devotees have it good because their spiritual masters are good and they have so much blissful experiences in Krishna consciousness, but we also see there's another side, and I don't want to be on the other side, right? That's a natural inclination of everyone who joins. So by us just understanding that this is going to happen automatically, we're going to meet our guru and Krishna's going to send the person who's right for us, and we don't have to kind of like externally try to make it happen by searching and manually selecting them. But if we just take shelter of the process and we try to practice sincerely and we fulfill our duties as a devotee, then things are going to happen. So magic is going to come up. And I think this is a really nice first initial opportunity for a new devotee to really see how Krishna works and not just kind of take it as a material endeavor through the material means, so that we have to make it happen, we have to control it, we have to analyze it. So what happened with me was I also didn't know who my guru is. And I was already associating with devotees and I followed the principles. I was chanting and I was trying to serve. And then what I did was I was hearing all these devotees' magical stories, right? How they met their guru or how Prabhupada disciples met Prabhupada. And I was like, wow, this is so far out, right? But then I was thinking, for me, it's not going to happen like that. So I have to take things in my own hands. And what I did was I made a list of all the gurus that are coming to Ljubljana and all the gurus that I knew of from hearing from others, or that I just liked what I heard from them on the internet. I made a list. And there was like 6, 7 of them. And then I still systematically studied their lectures, because devotees told me, if you just hear their lectures and then you see how it goes from there. Okay, I was hearing their lectures. And then every day I would hear at least 2 lectures. So that was like 1.5, 2 hours from different gurus. And then I would have my notebook and I would put the notes down, right? What I heard. So I was kind of like cultivating my relationships with all these senior Vaishnavas, all these gurus, And then my reasoning was, I'm just gonna take it from there and see if something develops along the way, right? Because first thing is hearing, try to hear from them, right? The verse says. So I was doing that. And then after half a year, I was very tired of it already because it took a big toll on me in terms of time and effort, and nothing really changed much. So I was thinking one day I was really in a pinch. So when I went down to Srila Prabhupada, to the Murti in the temple, and I prayed to Srila Prabhupada, and I said, Prabhupada, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm doing everything I know how to connect with you, and it's not happening, and I can't go on alone anymore. And I was crying, and I was really begging Srila Prabhupada to do something. And then all of a sudden, what happened was I went back up and I just went through my notebook, right? There were so many notes from all these months of hearing the classes, the lectures. And I went through my notes, and what happened was really amazing. So I was reading the notes, and there were quotes from Shivaram Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj, Pradananda Maharaj, Chandramauli Maharaj. But there was one recurring guru that always there was a little one sentence saying there, or just a little short something. And this was Kadamba Kanana Maharaj. So what I was doing, and then it just hit me. Like there was like a moment, and I just realized, oh my God, this is crazy. So while I was hearing these classes, Kadamba Kanana Maharaj wasn't on my list. And while I was hearing these classes, making these notes, I was getting tired every once in a while. And what I would do was I would just go online to KKS blog and just read one entry, which was just like short, I don't know, half a page thing. And I got really inspired by those because they were short and I could easily digest them, and they were really like to the point. So I would just make a note of that little saying that Maharaj would have inscribed on the web page. And this was just kind of like my side Krishna conscious pressure relief thing. It wasn't like part of my guru research. But then when I went through the notes, I saw that he's the most prominent there, and that most of the points that were like really struck me and that were really amazing was from him. And then I just realized, oh my God, Krishna tricked me so much, because I tried to control the outcome with my input, with my analysis, but Krishna just snuck in from behind and just slapped me on the head, right? And he just like did this crazy thing. And then I realized, wow, even if I tried to go the material route of finding the guru, Krishna found a way to bypass that and just do his thing. And this was really something that struck me. And yeah, this is crazy if you think about it, right? So this is an example, my own personal example, how it happened without really going the usual material approach that one might have. So trying to serve, trying to do what Prabhupada says in the books, and then taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada, that's a main thing in this. And then Prabhupada's gonna make an arrangement. If we try to fulfill our duties to our best capacity, so performing our sadhana, taking part in the preaching, taking shelter of devotees of Srila Prabhupada, then Krishna will do the rest, and Krishna will show us the way, and Krishna will make arrangements. That's the most important thing, right? Because we don't know, right? We might like someone from India, and we gonna save up for the ticket and then go there and this and that, or whatever, we're not going to cover all the bases, right? We're just going to float around a little bit. But if we take shelter of Krishna, take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, then they'll make arrangement, and then everything will fall into place, and we'll just be blissful the whole way. So try to fulfill our duties as sadhakas, and the rest will just fall into place naturally. And on the other hand, if we don't do that, and if we try to externally control it, then we'll never experience this deep connection with our guru. And if we just take initiation because everyone is taking initiation from this person, or it's popular to be initiated by this person, or anything like that, it's gonna backfire, and we'll still have to do the work of going deep in Krishna consciousness. And we just miss the opportunity because connecting with our Diksha Guru and getting initiated is one of the most catapulting experiences that are gonna uplift us to the next level, and we just blew it. So we'll have to do the work alone, and that's a really bad setback from the get-go, right? So nobody wants to do that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Prabhu. I feel to just sum it up, you're basically saying taking shelter of the process is most important, and then the magic will happen. I think we are just gone over time. We might just take one quick question. Sakirai Prabhu, you had to say something.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. These were wonderful answers. What I wanted to ask is, there's been discussion about local gurus now. That instead of having a guru where, who has 5, 6, 8,000 or 50,000 disciples, devotees like Jivananda Prabhu, Kalakanta Prabhu, even Jayadratha Maharaj, they have got very few disciples, and personal relationships are maintained, and proper guidances are given. So, what do you think of that, Prabhu? As against choosing a guru who's got 50,000 disciples and then there's no personal connection. Can you throw some light on that, Prabhu? Hare Krishna, thank you.
Yeah, this is a growing concern in our movement, becoming more and more externalized in this sense. So, just like Maharaj said yesterday when he was taking lunch, how he's got a disciple and he just talks with him every day. He's asking him questions, and Maharaj is willfully answering and connecting with him on a daily basis. So how many disciples do that with their guru? We could probably count on, I don't know, few hands. So it's not many, right? But this is the basis of spiritual growth, that guru knows you personally, and he knows about your activities, about your plans, about your associates, about your social circle, and he guides you based on that, because he sees what level you're on and how you act in the mission and in the association of devotees, and what level of understanding of reality you have. So then he can apply the teachings, the principles to your personal situation. So this ensures the optimum growth of a disciple. And yeah, if you have 60,000 disciples, it's pretty much impossible to deal with each one of them in that capacity. So it just becomes a formality at that point, right? You're my disciple, but I maybe met you just once, or not even once, because you were initiated through a Zoom session. And yeah, you can say that you're my disciple. I can say that you are my disciple, but there's not really much there in terms of the dynamics of guru-disciple relationship. So I'm gonna share a story. When I was in the UK for book distribution, a year of book distribution, this was in 2023. And there's one amazing preacher, Kartik Chandra Prabhu. So he's a Grihasta, and he's an amazing scholar, and he understands Srīmad Bhāgavatam in a profound way. So he can just speak on a verse for days, and it's really amazing to hear from him. So after one of those sessions, when he was speaking on the 8th canto, I accompanied him to the car. So as we were going through the car lot, then he just looked at me, and I, in a way, like, what do you think about what we spoke today? And then I just said to him, like, this is amazing. Like, where are all the thousands of people that would hear this? Because this is really profound and far out. It's like unlike anything we hear on a regular basis. And then I asked him, I said, where are all these people that would hear from you? And where are like hundreds of disciples that you would have? And like all these people flocking around and trying to offer some service. And then he just looked at me and he started laughing and he said, I don't want that. Like, how am I going to deal with all these people? And then he said, and then I said, so what do you want to do? And he said, this is good. And then he just pointed to the devotees assembled. There was maybe like 4 or 5 of us. And he said, this is more than enough. And then we can just talk and we can discuss. And it's very sweet and very personal. And we can really go deep into the topics. And everyone feels comfortable because it's such a small group. And this is enough for me. This is enough for you. And then I realized, wow, he really understood the principles of guru disciples, because this is how it was back in the day, right? There were different villages, different settlements, and each one of them had their own teacher. And they would just sit, and there was an assembly, maybe 20 most, 20, 25 maybe, and they would hear and they would discuss. And he would know each person's family members, he would know what they're going through, he would know everything about them, and he was able to guide them. And this was fulfilling for him and for the disciples also, right? Because nowadays you can hear from so many devotees, they're lamenting like, oh, I didn't get much association with my guru, or it's difficult to talk to him, or even when they're struggling like anything, they don't want to approach him because they think I'm going to disturb him because he's so busy and he's got so many disciples and so many projects, and who am I to break his peace, right? But no, you're a disciple, you should do it. This is your duty. Otherwise, what's the point of your guru-disciple relationship? It's not much there. And you're not going to progress because it's not happening, right? Nothing is happening. It's just like on standby. So we have to find devotees who have time for us. And even nowadays, right, with all these thousands of disciples, practically speaking, what we can see, what happens is the role of the guru is transferred to the local senior devotees, local mentors or guides, or whoever inspires us, whoever we take shelter in naturally. It's not like formal. Okay, these guys are mentors, I can just select one of those guys. No, it's organic. So whoever inspires you, whoever helps you on your path, and you feel secure hearing from them and implementing what you hear from them, they act as a guru. Of course, it's Shiksha Guru, but that Shiksha relationship can later be upgraded by Diksha. So ISKCON will have to take this into consideration to kind of like reverse the monstrous machine that's started revolving into this way, which is what's happening now, into more personal approach for each individual of who take shelter in our society. So that means there have to be more gurus, locally based, who speak the language, right? Here, the main language is English, but many other countries, devotees cannot take shelter fully because they don't speak the language of the gurus, especially senior citizens. So, and if there would be a local guru who speaks the language, they would gladly take shelter of them. And we have to make this available so that everyone can easily take shelter. And then, because this is gonna constitute the progress of not only individuals, but the society at large. Because people are willing to take shelter, people are willing to follow, but there's not enough people to guide them. You can hear all these classes online, you can do this, you can go meet famous gurus, this and that, but this personal, everyday connection is lacking. So, yeah, what we'll have to do is develop this more, definitely. And yeah, local-based system is the best system because it's bulletproof. Whatever happens in the society, if it's not centralized, then it's not affected. So it's very good for us to have it in this way. And still we remain connected through the teachings and through the same banner, and the international connection is there. But locally we have to become more autonomous. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for sharing your thoughts. Sakura Prabhu, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
I'm doing puja, so please forgive me if I'm yeah. So thank you very much for wonderful answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jagannatha Suta Prabhu, for joining us today for our Bhagavatam session. It goes perfectly well with what we are hearing and reading right now about questions and answers by Brahma and Narada. So it's perfect. It was perfect setting. Nilima Mataji has a question, but what we can do is, I'll request Jagannatha Suta Prabhu to do a voice recording as an answer for that question, and that can be posted on our Bhagavatam group, if that's okay, Nilima Mataji, with you. Just because we are running behind time.
Yeah, she's at work, so
Yes.
she can't talk.
Oh, she sent a heart smiley, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, before we end, thank you so much, Jagannatha Suta Prabhu, for joining us. Thank you for year on year coming to Brisbane and giving us your association. And your enthusiasm is contagious, so keep inspiring us. And before we end, we have His Grace Viraj Krishna Prabhu, who would like to make a small announcement. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sneha Bhaktimanji, and thank you so much, Jagannatha Suta Prabhu. As you mentioned, turning our cameras on while on class, it's very nice if devotees can do that more and more. And on that note as well, Jagannatha Suta Prabhu, although you've been here few years, we actually haven't had your personal association at harekrishnatemple so we'd love to hear Srīmad Bhāgavatam from you there in person. Krishna willing, this can be facilitated and devotees can get a lot of benefit out of this. What I wanted to say, especially today, is Vasant Panchami, a very auspicious day, and especially for harekrishnatemple because by Krishna's arrangement on this auspicious day, it so happened that 3 years ago that we had the inauguration of this temple, this center. Nothing is by accident, so Krishna chose this date. We didn't choose this day. And so we are very thankful to all the devotees for their well wishes and support. And of course, over the next 3 days, starting from tomorrow, we will be having a 3-day festival, Sankirtan of glorification of Bhagavatam, Harinam. So all the devotees, if you can please encourage everyone, your fans, family to come over and participate in these festivals, that will be very nice. And more importantly, let's all work together in making this dream that Srila Prabhupada had in every town and village a success. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur very nicely says, that Radha Krishna bolo, Sange chalo, ai matra bhika chai. There is only one thing we beg for, that everyone chant the names of Radha and Krishna, Sange chalo, and just come and be with us, give us your sublime association. So we look forward to the weekend festivities. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Have a blissful Friday, and we'll see you for the 3-day festivities. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. That is a very, very beautiful class, and to the Prabhuji as well. Thank you. It's enlightened our understanding about gurus and initiation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.